For last 3 years, tech CEOs have repeated one message: AI is taking over. It will replace jobs, it will run companies, every employee will manage 100 AI agents. And apparently, software developers are already an endangered species. Very dramatic, very futuristic, also extremely convenient. If your company needs investors to keep funding an unimaginably expensive AI build out, because now the bills are arriving. Microsoft is cancelling most of its direct cloud code licenses. Uber reportedly consumed its entire annual AI coding tools budget in 4 months. Amazon shut down an internal AI leaderboard after employees gamed it by running pointless AI tasks. And Nvidia's own vice president of applied deep learning said that, for his team, compute costs were far beyond employee costs. Wait, what? Wasn't AI supposed to save money by replacing the employees? This is not just an AI budgeting problem. These are the first visible cracks in the AI investment story. And the strangest part, AI tokens are becoming cheaper, but companies are still spending more, much more. So either we are witnessing the beginning of an economic revolution, or tech has built the most expensive autocomplete bubble in history. The basic AI pitch was simple. Human workers are expensive. AI is software, software scales, therefore, companies can replace expensive human labor with cheap digital labor. One AI agent becomes 10, 10 becomes 100, and suddenly every company has an infinite workforce that never sleeps, never takes leaves, and never argues about returning to the office. Investors understandably love this because our software might improve productivity slightly is not $1 trillion story, you see. But we are building digital workers that will transform the entire economy. That is $1 trillion story. It justifies enormous data centers, massive chip purchases, huge startup valuations, and years of spending before anyone asks an awkward question: where is the profit? Here is where this gets interesting. Big Tech did not merely sell AI to customers, it started pushing AI inside its own companies. At Uber, employees were reportedly ranked by AI tool usage. At Meta, an employee built a leaderboard called Claudeonomic. At Amazon, workers were ranked through an internal system tracking AI use. The message was obvious. More tokens means more AI adoption. More AI adoption means more productivity. More productivity means the revolution is working. Except, tokens do not measure productivity, they measure consumption. That is like judging a developer by how much electricity their laptops used. Kevin shipped nothing this quarter, but his MacBook reached the temperature of the sun. Promote him. And once employees realized token usage was being measured, they optimized the metric. Amazon employees reportedly began assigning AI unnecessary work to improve their leaderboard positions. The company wanted evidence of AI adoption, so employees manufactured AI activity. Congratulations! A revolution now has a vanity metrics. This exposes the central problem with the AI bubble. The industry keeps showing us activity and asking us to assume value. More users, more prompts, more tokens, more agents, more GPUs, more data centers, more capital expenditure. But none of those automatically means more profit, better software, fewer mistakes, or genuinely higher productivity. A developer can use 10 million tokens solving a serious production failure. That may be valuable. Or an agent can burn 10 million tokens rewriting the same function repeatedly because it keeps introducing a new bug. Same usage, very different value. But investor presentations love usage. Usage goes up and to the right. Actual productivity requires someone to measure whether the software improved. That is much less cinematic. Now, the industry has another reassuring story. Yes, AI is expensive today, but tokens will become dramatically cheaper. Therefore, the economics will eventually work. Sounds reasonable, except agents consume far more tokens than ordinary chatbots. A chatbot answers your question once. An agent reads your repository, creates a plan, searches files, writes code, runs tests, breaks tests, reads the errors, rewrites the code, installs a package that was last maintained during the Roman Empire, then starts again. So the price of each token can fall, with total consumption raises even faster. Imagine petrol becoming 50% cheaper. But your CEO celebrates by giving every employee 100 cars and ordering them to drive continuously. Technically, petrol got cheaper. Financially, you have created a very expensive traffic jam. That is the AI cost paradox. Cheaper intelligence per unit, far more units consumed, an even larger bill. And this is where we need to talk about the takeover narrative. Every few weeks,
but what they don't talk about is all of the white-collar work that AI is going to do. All repetitive human work that doesn't require the deep emotional connection between two people. That will all be done in the next couple of decades, better, cheaper, faster by AI.
If I look at coding, programming, which is one area where AI is making the most progress, what we are finding is we are not far from a world, I think we'll be there in 3 to 6 months, where AI is writing 90% of the code.
Maybe they genuinely believe it, but the narrative also performs a very useful financial function. It tells investors, do not judge today's spending by today's returns. We are building the future. Do not worry that the data centers cost billions. They will eventually power digital labor. Do not worry that current AI products have uncertain margins. Scale will fix it. Do not worry that companies cannot measure productivity clearly. The revolution is still early. It is the perfect investment narrative because every failure becomes evidence that more investment is needed. AI costs too much? Build cheaper models. Cheaper models encourage greater consumption. Build more data centers. Those data centers cost too much. Raise more capital. At no point is the answer. Maybe the promise was exaggerated. So, is AI fake? No. And this is important. AI can be useful. Coding agents can save developers time. Models can generate drafts, inspect unfamiliar code, automate repetitive work, and help teams prototype quickly. A dot-com bubble did not mean the internet was fake. The railway bubble did not mean the trains were useless. A bubble does not require the underlying technology to be fraudulent. It happens when a real technology becomes surrounded by unrealistic timelines, inflated valuations, excessive investment, weak business models, and stories that outrun the evidence. The internet changed everything, but it also produced pets.com. Both things can be true. AI may transform software development, and the current financial expectations around AI may still be widely inflated. Both things can also be true. For developers, important question is no longer can AI generate code? Obviously it can. The real question is, does the generated code create more economic value than the compute, supervision, debugging, and infrastructure required to produce it? That calculation is much less impressive than a humanoid robot demo. But it decides whether this becomes an sustainable industry or a spectacular financial correction. Microsoft pulling back licenses does not prove AI has failed. Uber exhausting its budgets does not mean cloud code is useless. But these stories challenge the central promise that digital workers automatically become cheaper as companies scale them. Sometimes they do. Sometimes you replace one expensive developer task with an AI agent, 3 review cycles, a giant cloud bill, and another developer fixing what it generated. What an innovation. So, no, the AI bubble may not burst because AI fails. It may burst because AI succeeds just as a tool, not as the autonomous digital worker tech CEOs sold to investors. Useful? Yes, absolutely. Profitable enough to justify trillions? Okay, now, that part is nobody has proven yet. So, what do you think? Are we watching the beginning of a real AI economy or a very expensive correction?